Hey guys, thanks for tuning in the channel today. Today I'm going to do my second series of the videos, or of the series that is for the Mineland Wildlife Area in southeast Kansas. I did my first one, which was over pit number 41. You can find that under my playlist, which is, I believe, the Mineland Wildlife Area. Can't remember exactly what I put that playlist under. I'm going to cover pit number 41 today, which is called Penders Pit. Most of the locals know it as Penders. That is, some people might have their other nicknames. The only nickname I've ever heard it called has been Penders. That is pit number 41. If you want to know how to get there, you go out on the blacktop. You go 3 miles, or it'd be 2 miles west, and then 1.25 miles south. And that'll put you right at the boat ramp to Penders, and that'll be Penders Pit to your east. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to this. Try to keep this, try to not make it too long, hopefully 15 minutes or under, but there's a lot of things to talk about in that pit. I got a lot of fishing in there, can catch a lot of fish, so let's get into it here. Okay, first off, you're going to see where Penders Pit is here. I'm going to pull all that up. The little video, the little screenshot should pop up, show you how to get to this pit number 41, which is number 41 in the Mineland Wildlife Area here in southeast Kansas in Cherokee County. There is some in Crawford County, but this one is in Cherokee County. Okay, there we go. Okay, now the first thing I want to talk about here is you'll see a screen pop up here, and it is going to be the West Cove itself, right where you put in. That's where I want to talk about, right where you put in. Right when you put in there, I personally have not done any good there, but if the water is up and you can get in there, the red right there is a little, there's kind of a flat little point that runs across there. And if you could get back through there, if the water's up enough, I've heard there's a lot of good fish that hang out in there. That's pretty much all year round, except the winter. I would guess they'd probably not be in there. Depending on how warm it is in the winter, they might move up, might not. My experience would be no in the winter, but that might not be. Fish hang out in some weird places in the wintertime, depending on how warm it is, how cold it is. The green, there is a laydown. What that is there's a laydown. I can't remember exactly where it's at in there, so you'll see it right in there, but you'll see it when you put in there. And that is good all year round. I've watched in March, I watched a guy catch one on a shad wrap right there, a 3-pounder, I do believe it was, 3 pounds something, an 18-incher. I know it was in a pit tournament. I've caught some good fish off of there pretty much all year round. You see it, just fish it, flip it with a jig, fish with a Texas rig. Any of those. I mean, anything you want to throw at that thing, throw at it. Crankbaits, jerk baits around it, jigs, A-rigs, whatever, all that good stuff. Throw anything around that, lay down, there'll be fish hanging around it. And then the blue is kind of a small run-in right there, and it should zoom in right there for you guys for the blue. This is one of my favorite areas in this pit. It's good in the spring if the water's up and you can fish back in there, or in the summertime, they'll move back in there and they like to feed. You can get a good topwater bite back in there. That's the same way with that flat to the south, a good topwater bite in the mornings. Or if it's cloudy, you can get it all day. So the blue is that small little run in, and then there's some dots out there, which are brush piles out in front of it. You can kind of see some of them in that area up there. I think there's like a little beaver pile right up there. And then there's some trees in the water, a couple laydowns right in there. But there's some brush piles that sit out off of there in the water. Be sure to hit those all year round. They're really good in the summertime, really good in the wintertime with the jerk bait. And that leads me to the next spot, which is the purple. The purple right there is the points, and then also right there's a little funnel. If you get a good south wind in the springtime or wintertime, you could sit there pretty much for a couple hours and just keep catching fish right there. I did that in a pit tournament right there. That is where I would have won it, but we had a slot limit then. That was before we went to the picture, so I probably still lost it because I think it wasn't over 15, but it was over 13 inches. Right there in that little cove, and then I caught second big bass of the tournament in that one right there, where You can kind of see it. The wind's blowing out of the south. It'll push all that. And that's what you want to focus on in the wintertime, or really any time. If the wind is blowing, anywhere that wind blows in and funnels, it can funnel fish into something. In that case, there was shad. I snagged a 12-inch, about 12 or 13 inches. I know it was huge. Gizzard shad in there. It was massive. I snagged that with a jerkbait that same day. And what that wind does is it blows those shad up there. It blows whatever the shad eat up onto the banks, and that pushes the shad up on the banks. And then that creates kind of a funnel where the bass, and then they just sit back and they feed on those shad right in there. So pay attention to that anytime there's a wind. And that's the same way with the point right over there that's in the purple right there. If you get that wind, that'll funnel them, and they can come around, they can sit on the back side, and when those bait fish come through, they can come up and feed on those. That's good in the summertime, good in the wintertime, pretty much good all year. Like I said, points, if you guys watched my videos before, anytime there's points, that's a good spot to go to. Okay, let's get into the second cove now, which is the middle cove. The red right here is going to be a flat with grass. And there's that little cove right there. This whole area right in there, once that grass starts growing in, it's got good grass in there. Once that starts growing in the spring and summertime, those fish like to hang out in that grass. I don't know if you guys know much about fishing grass. Anybody watching this, any of the locals, I'm sure do. You get that. I don't know if it's exactly milfoil or what it is. I know there's a lot of milfoil out there. I can't give you the exact terms of what kind of grass that is, but once that starts growing in, those fish like to hang out in that. Summertime, it's great. Springtime, it's great as well. Pretty much once that grass grows in, this is a great area. My best time has been back in there the spring and summer, right around that island. Once you go past that island, I've never really done any good back down that arm. Now, the green bank that is off to the west, I do good on that bank in the summer and spring. I don't know why I do better on the west bank than I do the east bank, but I don't catch much on the east bank. I think it might be because there's more little cuts right in there on that west bank. So that's where I do better in there. That's why the green is highlighted down there instead of on the other side, the west bank is. The purple is the points there. Those points are good. One of the tournaments we fished, one of the guys that got first place caught his fish right around those points. I think he caught those fish right around those points in a summer tournament. He won in there as well, the same guy. So those are good in the summer and winter, pretty much all year round, though. I like them in the summer and the winter, especially if you got a wind blowing on them. Like I said, it pushes those shad up there, or early in the mornings in the summertime, they'll pull up there and feed on those and then move back out to the deep water. And then the blue, which is just right across from those 2 points, anytime it's just right over there, you'll see it across from there. It's kind of a steeper bank. It's kind of got some bigger rocks on it. And it is good in the winter and summertime. It's kind of, like I said, bluffier and steeper. And I do really good if there's a wind blowing on it. In the winter and summer, it's either hit or miss, though. They're either there or they're not there. So we might go there and be like, man, this guy's full of crap. We ain't catching nothing there. Or you might show up there and be like, oh, wow, this guy is right. So it just kind of depends on what's going on there, when they're not there. So that place is real hit and miss. The white, just right to, once you go out of that cove, if you're going up towards the north, just go straight back east, and you'll see the white right there. It's a shallow point, and it's kind of got a little backwater in there. And that's good all year round right there. Better in the spring, good early in the summer, better in the fall. The wintertime they sit there. The springtime they'll sit there. So summertime early, be sure to hit it early or late, depends on when you're out. I'm talking early, like if you're out morning fishing, or same as in the evening time, fish there because they like to go up and feed, or even fishing at night, they like to move up on that stuff. And then the yellow is good in the winter and summer, is what I've noticed. These are better. I noticed they're better when the wind is not blowing, because that's, like I said, the wind blows all that shad up towards the banks. That's why those fish move up to the banks, and you look for your funnels and areas they funnel into. So basically what that would be if you were lake fishing related to is a ditch, sort of, right where they dug that out. Right out in the middle, I've seen a tournament won on deep cranks in the summertime when there was not much wind blowing. those shad get out there and those bass just hang out, school out all day long. I mean, you'll see them out there in the summertime. They start busting, those shad do. And the fish will be out there. You go out there with deep cranks. I'm talking 20-foot divers, 12 to 20-foot divers anywhere out there. Not much of a deep crank guy, so can't really give you much relation to what exactly to throw. I think they're throwing Strike King, whatever XDs it is that goes to that depth. I believe it was in Sexy Shad color too. I might be wrong. But that's a great start for colors there. But throw deep cranks, jerk baits, or swim baits, or of course the Alabama rig out there if it's wintertime. You throw the Alabama rig in the summertime, but I've noticed once that water temp gets over about 55 degrees, the A-rig bite kind of goes away. There's a video about that if you guys want to watch that. Okay, now the last part of this pit is the far west end of the pit. Everything else in between, I've never caught really much on or done anything to talk about. Let you guys know, like, I have no good information about none of that other stuff except the end of the pit. Right down there is the very end of it is some bigger rocks in the water. You can access it by land pretty easy. Water, you get down there and fish it. It's really good if the wind's blowing on it. It's good all seasons, winter, spring, summer, or fall. It's good all of them. Yellow, once again, that yellow line right there. This is one of the better areas to do that in. For pretty much from those 2 points on, out in the middle to right over there, you just got to get out in the middle and just throw it away. If you got front-facing sonar or live scope, you can get out there and do that pretty easily. You can just throw right to them. So that's deep cranking out there in the middle, like I said, jerk bait, swim bait, A-rig. Now let's get into the lure breakdown of this pit and the colors I like to throw. First off, anytime I'm fishing the pits, I like to throw a Texas rig, unless it's in the springtime. Not springtime, but the winter time, I like to go with the jerk bait and a jig. Those are my two go-tos. I have thrown a Texas rig. It's not as good a bite as the jig and jerk baits. Like I said, pretty much wintertime, stick to your jig and jerk baits. Especially in the wintertime, throw a bigger jerk bait. You're going to get a big bite if you catch one anyway. So, just throw, I'm not talking like huge jerk bait. You're just your normal stick baits. A Rogue, Smithwick Rogue, Megabass 110, Vision 110, Berkeley Stunna, Berkeley, what's the name of them? Rip something. I got one in there in the other room. I just got, actually, one of the guys in the club got it for me. And then Husky Jerk. Those are all good ones. And there's a whole bunch of other ones. A Berkeley Stunner works good as well. I don't remember if I said that one or not just a second ago. The colors to throw in there, Clown Color does really, really good in there. Clown Color, your shad colors do good. Just a little stain in there, so it's hard for them to see it. So if you get something with chartreuse on it, it works a little better. Sexy Shad colors and a jerkbait work really good in there. Jig color wise, black and blue works good. And anything with orange in it this time of year. Kind of not really red, but kind of brown and orange is what I like to throw this time of year. Or PB&J works really good too. The PB&J I throw is a 2K Jigs wrecking ball. And it is called PBJ Stripe. If you ever want to order that, that's at 2kjigs.com. And throw that in a 5/16 or 3/8 ounce. This type of year, I like to throw the 5/16. It gets down a little bit slower, but you can bring them back to you slower, and they like that slower fall to that. And then we start getting into springtime. The springtime is when the Texas rig starts picking up for me. I start throwing the Texas rig to start off with. In there, I like the big hammer ringer worm. I like it in Magic Bug. I like it in June Bug in there. What other? Green Pumpkin is a good one to throw. I don't do that good with Green Pumpkin, but a lot of people do. Dip the tail in chartreuse if you're throwing in Green Pumpkin. That's the three colors I would throw in there in the big hammer ringer worm. The second worm I would like to throw is a 7-inch power worm in the springtime. 7-inch power worm in there works good in straight black, tequila sunrise, or red shad, or June bug. Those are the colors I like to throw. Green pumpkin as well. I don't like to throw green pumpkin, but green pumpkin is always one to throw. Or anything black and blue. Black, blue fleck works good. Anything like that. I did say straight black is one of my favorite power worm colors. So jig-wise, I like to stick with the same color as jig as I did in the winter. And then try to think what else in the springtime. Pretty much that's about it. That's about all I throw in the springtime myself. There's a lot of other lures I'm sure that works. Spinnerbait. Spinnerbait's a good one. Anytime the water's not too high. Same way the wintertime, I did not mention the A-rig or a swim bait. I got to go back there and cover that. A big hammer swim bait, I like to throw it in a 3-inch or 3.5 inch. You put those paired with the A-rig or by themselves, you will catch fish out there in the middle or anywhere in those places I talked about that are good for the winter. The springtime, like I said, your plastics, your worms, and then anything that resembles a crawl, your jigs. And then for bed fishing, you want something lighter. So you want to go with baby brush hogs, anything crawl imitation, anything bluegill imitators when they're up on them beds, because they go up there and they're curious. Another thing I did not mention is shaky heads work good too when they're up on the beds, or even a little split shot rig. And then you move into your summertime. This is where really a wide range of lures you can get into. But I like to keep it simple. I say simple, I mean, I'm turning the video in here to a 20-minute video, so it's not real simple, but I'm breaking it all down for you guys. So the summertime, first off, is a Texas rig. I love a Texas rig in the pits. I don't know how many times I could say that. That's my favorite rig in the pits. So I go with either an 1/8 ounce or a 3/16, up to a 5/16. 5/16, 1/8 ounce right in there. Those two right there are the two I like to throw, depending on how aggressive the bass are. If they're not real aggressive, I go with the 1/8 ounce with a slower fall. If they're more aggressive and they're biting good, I go with the 5/16. And if I'm fishing out, they're deeper than what I thought, deeper out, throw the 5/16. That's about as big as I go with that Texas rig. Just wait to get down there. I like to throw big worms in the summertime. Same way with the ringer worm. I pair it with the ringer worm, but the ringer worm does not get as big as bites as the 10-inch worm. So that's where I like to get the 10-inch worm involved in the summertime. The same colors, I like to throw a Zoom, Old Monster, June Bug, Candy Bug, June Bug Red. Those are my 3 favorite colors in there. Everybody else has probably got their other favorites. That's the ones I like to throw. Like I said, deep cranks. You throw those out in the middle of the pit. They work really good. Sexy shad colors would be my guess. Shad colors, nothing real fancy. And then for any other colors, I would stick with your green pumpkins in there. June bugs, June bug for sure, or black and blue, because that water gets pretty dirty. And all your other plastics, I think I'm missing over something there. Trying to think. Oh, yes. Another one is a middle in or a bomber 6A. Those two, if you're throwing a middle in, they make a chartreuse sexy shad color, I believe it is. I don't know what exactly, if that's what they call it or not. But that color is deadly in there. It's killer. And the sexy shad color is killer as well. And you can do that with a lot of other crankbaits as well. When they're schooled out in the middle, you can also take a chatterbait and catch them. I did see a guy doing that. You can also take a square bill, which a lot of people don't think about when they're out there and they're up higher in that water column in the mornings out there schooling up. You can take a square bill over the top of those and it resembles those shad, and they will eat them the same way with a 3-inch big hammer, a 3.5-inch big hammer rigged on a 1/4 ounce or 3/8 ounce head, depending on how deep you want to get it out there. And then once fall comes, it's pretty much the same lures as the summer or spring. It don't really change a whole lot, other than they become a little more harder to catch because a lot of them are in transition period. Fall just always is tougher everywhere you go. So just stick in that pit to your darker colors is what works best. If you're throwing spinner baits, you want to have a little bit of a chartreuse in them so they can see them better. Same way with your crankbaits. But, I mean, you'll do good with the shad colors as well. The jerkbait colors I like to throw in there is Berkeley Stunner makes one. I don't have it in front of me to tell you the color, but it's kind of got a chartreuse line down the middle of it. If you're throwing a Vision 110, it's called Pro Blue 2 is what I like to throw. And then my favorite color to throw in there is clown color. Clown color, anytime you're in dirty water, works amazing. They love the clown color. A Vision 110 clown color, a Smithwick Rogue clown color works really good. So anything, chartreuse, anything that can see better in that dirty water, chartreuse is great to go to. So I tried to keep that under 15 minutes. Looks like I'm going to be able to keep it under 20 minutes. So hopefully this helps you guys out when you go into Pit 41. It can help you locate bass easier and not waste a lot of time in areas that do not have fish. So hopefully this helps you guys. Thanks for tuning in.